Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. The federal government has tightened enforcement measures in Almajiri learning centers nationwide, warning that non-compliance with newly established operational standards will attract sanctions, including closure. Details of these measures are contained in the National Policy on the Enhancement of Almajiri Education in Nigeria, released by the Federal Ministry of Education. The policy covers operation and management of all Almajiri learning centers, males and females across the country. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the final forfeiture of $13 million linked to businesswoman Aisha Chimugu and her firm, Ocean Gate Engineering Oil and Gas Limited, ruling that the funds were proceeds of unlawful activities. The court held that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, proved its case, noting that the company failed to provide credible evidence of legitimate source of the money or present witnesses to support its claims. The judge further ruled that the burden of proof was not discharged, rejecting assertions that the funds were gifted and asserting the government's right to seize the assets. The Defense Headquarters has said that border security and indigenous technological advancement will form key pillars of Nigeria's future defense strategy. In a statement signed by the Director, Defense Information, Major General Samaila Uba, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oloyede, made this known at the inaugural lecture of the Joint Doctrine and Welfare Center. Oloyede said the military is entering a new era of strategic military evolution, stressing that self-reliance and regional collaboration are critical to addressing security challenges. He said the armed forces are prioritizing the strengthening of local defense production through the Defense Industrial Corporation of Nigeria and other local manufacturers, while also recognizing the important role of border security to our internal security and the need to maintain good relations and cooperation with our neighboring countries. In the meantime, the newly appointed Commissioner of Police, Federal Capital Territory Command, CP Ahmed Mohammed Sanusi, has pledged a tough, intelligence-driven approach to policing, declaring that there will be no hiding place for criminals in Abuja. Addressing journalists during the inaugural press briefing, the Commissioner expressed gratitude to the Inspector General of Police, IGP Olatunji Rilwan Disu, for the confidence reposed in him, assuring Nigerians of his commitment to duty. Defense correspondent Kikelomo Okere has the details.
CP Ahmed Sanusi, who has officially taken over leadership of the command as the 35th Commissioner of Police, stated that he will build on the achievement of his predecessors while introducing new strategies aimed at strengthening security across the territory. He emphasized that under his leadership, the command will adopt proactive and professional policing methods with a strong focus on crime prevention and intelligence gathering. The commissioner issued a stern warning to criminal elements, advising them to leave the FCT or face the full weight of the law, stressing that the command will stop at nothing to ensure safety of residents.
We shall leave no stone unturned in ensuring that criminal elements are identified, pursued, and flushed out of the FCT. My objective is not only to respond to crime, but to deter and prevent it before it occurs.
The CP also charged officers and men of the command to uphold discipline and professionalism at all times, noting that misconduct will not be tolerated. It therefore called on residents of FCT to support security agencies by providing timely and useful information, reiterating that policing is a collective responsibility.
It's clear that no form of indiscipline or unprofessional conduct will be tolerated. All personnel must remain civil in their interactions with members of the public and uphold the highest standards of professionalism in the discharge of their duties.
The CP assures the public of open door policy and reaffirmed the command's commitment to protecting lives and property. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
The Media and Publicity Committee of the 2026 National Convention of the All Progressive Congress (APC) has announced that the party will hold a World Press Conference on Thursday this week to unveil its plans and preparations for the upcoming convention. The disclosure was made by the co-chairman of the committee and the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris. During the committee's meeting, he called on members of the committee to work together in unity to ensure effective communication and successful delivery of the convention. Idris noted that the forthcoming convention, scheduled for March 27 to 28, 2026 in Abuja, represents an important milestone for the party as it continues to strengthen its internal structures and democratic processes. As the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) unveils a revised draft of its 2026 regulations and guidelines for political parties, reactions from party leaders reveal both support and skepticism. That report will come to you in our subsequent bulletin. Still talking politics, the Labour Party has postponed its ward, local government and state congresses as well as its national convention earlier scheduled to begin on Thursday, March 26, 2026. The party cited the need to allow broader participation in its ongoing membership pre-registration exercise. This was disclosed in a statement issued in Abuja by the Senior Special Advisor to the Interim National Chairman on Media, Ken Eluma Aswagwa. The development marks a shift from the party's earlier timetable, which had slated world congresses for March 26, followed by local government congresses on March 28, state congresses on March 31, and the National Convention on April 11, 2026. You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. And now to business news. The Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Olayemi Cardoso says Nigerian banks have raised 4.61 trillion naira in fresh capital under the ongoing recapitalization program, with about 27% coming from foreign investors as the March 31 deadline approaches. He says the initiative has strengthened the resilience of the banking sector despite economic reforms, while also expanding the footprint of Nigerian banks across Africa and inspiring similar reforms on the continent. Cardoso added that the Apex Bank is enforcing strict corporate governance, restricting service to chronic defaulters, and pushing for stronger regulatory collaboration across Africa to safeguard financial stability. In the meantime, a federal high court in Lagos, presided over by Justice Chukwujeku Aneke, has nullified the central bank's dissolution of the board and management of the Union Bank of Nigeria, declaring the move unlawful. The court ordered the immediate reinstatement of the bank's former leadership and set aside all decisions taken by the CBN's appointed board, while restraining the Apex Bank from further actions concerning the bank. The ruling followed a suit by core shareholders, including Titan Trust Bank and others, who argued that the CBN's intervention and proposed recapitalization were carried out without due process. Stakeholders and professionals in the aviation industry have adopted differing positions regarding the allegation that some airlines were involved in price fixing during last festive season in Nigeria. The development follows an investigation by the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, which indicted 5 unnamed domestic carriers, a move that has continued to generate debate across the sector. The airlines operating under the umbrella of the Airline Operators of Nigeria have rejected the Commission's findings. They argue that the FCCPC lacks the technical expertise to interpret airline economics and have warned that such conclusions could threaten the survival of the domestic carriers. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority regulates safety and technical operations in the sector. The FCCPC has broader powers to intervene in the matters relating to competition and consumer protection across industries. He argued that the sharp increase in ticket prices during the festive period could not be sufficiently justified by airlines, adding that the regulatory oversight was necessary to prevent the exploitation of passengers. Still talking business, the ambitious deal between the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) is facing challenges as the refinery experienced a crude oil supply shortfall of approximately 79.53 million barrels between October 2025 and mid-March 2026. Data obtained from a senior management source within the refinery indicated that the facility, which requires approximately 19.77 million barrels of crude monthly to operate at full capacity, received significantly lower volumes during the review month. The official argued that under the Petroleum Industry Act, the export of crude before meeting local demands was clearly prohibited, stressing that $20 billion Lekki-based plant had been grappling with inadequate crude volumes, while the country, through the NNPCL, continued to export some of its oil. And now to news making rounds on the foreign scene. Kenyan authorities have exhumed 32 bodies and fetus from a mass grave in the Rift Valley town of Kericho after a report of a secret burial. Police had reportedly received a report about the mass burial of 14 bodies by unknown individuals at a cemetery in the western Kenyan town, prompting investigations. Our correspondent Uyi Agbomofoibe completes the report.
Following the shocking revelation, the area was cordoned off and a probe launched. Government pathologist Dr. Richard Njoroge noted that analysis will determine whether they belong to one person or several.
What we have found is quite unusual. It was one mass grave and the bodies were stacked in gunny bags. We found 7 adults and 25 children who qualify. Some of them are neonates and others are fetuses. So in total we have 32 bodies. We also found 6 body parts, 4 legs and 2 hands. We will plan for autopsies to determine the causes of death. Some of these look like they have come from mortuaries and others from hospitals. But we are going to determine that when we finish with the autopsy exercise.
Authorities have yet to establish the cause of death, and autopsies are expected to be carried out in the coming days. In 2023, hundreds of bodies were discovered in the Kenya coast in what became known as the Shakalola Forest Massacre, one of the world's worst cult-related tragedies. Uyi Agbomofoibe reporting for Global TV News.
Let's bring you back home here to Nigeria, where as the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) unveils a revised draft of its 2026 regulations and guidelines for political parties, reaction from party leaders reveal both support and skepticism. Anita Patrick reports.
The draft rules aimed at strengthening internal democracy and transparency ahead of the 2027 elections have sparked debate among Nigeria's political class. Addressing journalists after the meeting, prominent political activist and party leader Omoyele Sowore stressed that political parties must assert their independence. He criticized parties for being overly compliant and not driving their own process. Sowore emphasized that parties should be proactive in challenging electoral rules that they feel limit democratic participation rather than treating internal party consultations as mere formalities.
I expected the political parties to take a joint position on these issues, not to come and be begging INEC in the meeting to help them. We should take a public position without coming to INEC. Say, look, if these electoral laws do not permit our full participation in what we know as participatory democracy, we will not participate. We will boycott your election for you. Go and do the election. Since already you are doing it in such a way that you already know the winner anyways, it's going to be another selection.
Meanwhile, Nenadi Usman, a leader of the Labour Party, highlighted the party's plans for internal primaries. She explained that while aspirants are free to contest, the party has made strategic decisions to focus on certain regions and ensure internal democracy. Usman added that the Labour Party has zoned its presidential ticket to the south, as the decision was a firm policy shift intended to provide clarity for prospective aspirants ahead of the next general election.
We were all briefed about the new changes in the Electoral Act, just to make sure that political parties know what they should do and when they should do it, because you know most of the things the INEC does is time sensitive. So if you don't know when to submit a name, when to upload a name, you are bound to run into issues. So they took their time and explained everything to us, and it was really very nice.
Both leaders agreed that political parties must balance internal organization with national electoral expectations. As INEC's drafts guidelines await further stakeholder inputs, parties are being urged to clarify their positions publicly and ensure their members' voices are represented. Aniete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
Let's now return to the foreign scene, where Iran says that passing through the Strait of Hormuz, ships must comply with its security regulations and coordinate their passage with relevant authorities. According to its mission to the United Nations, Iran stated that it is easing restrictions on the transit through the Strait of Hormuz. It noted that the vessels not deemed hostile and not supporting military actions against Tehran may pass. And now to sport. Team Nigeria will depart for Botswana today to compete in the Lefika International Relays, a critical final window for securing berth at the upcoming World Athletics Relay Championship. The contingent traveling via Ethiopian Airlines aims to qualify the remaining 4 relays team for the global showpiece scheduled for May, while Nigeria's women's 100 meters and 400 meters squad have already secured their spots. The International Basketball Federation has intervened in the protracted leadership crisis within the Nigerian Basketball Federation, formally recognizing the engineer Ahmadu Musa Kida-led board and establishing a non-negotiable deadline for new elections, in a move intended to quell months of administrative instability. A letter dated March 16, 2026 and signed by the FIBA Secretary General Andreas Zaklis confirmed that the world governing body recognizes the current board's mandate as valid through October 15, 2026. But FIBA has dictated a strict roadmap for the NBBF's transition, ordering that new elections must be conducted only after the conclusion of the 2026 FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup. That's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365. On Star Times, it is channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on your screen using our Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim. Saying a very big thank you for watching.